YB, Merry Christmas! When you guys are seeing this, I am currently in Germany to enjoy Christmas with Herbert's family. But as of now, when I'm filming this, I am still home to show you guys the behind the scenes of 2025 without a recipe. So right now, both of the episodes I edited are out on YouTube. The first one was the Girl Scout cookies and the second one was Mochi episode that just came out last week. As you guys know, I do without a recipe behind the scenes every year. By now, if you have watched my previous episodes, you probably know the gist of it, like how I organize things, how I go from cut 1, 2, 3, 4. So today, instead of going in detail on every single step that I do, because it's always the same, today I want to focus on like the special things that I did for each episode. So get your hot chocolate and get cozy, maybe with your presents for Christmas, and we will learn about this year's without a recipe. Alright, so let's get started. The first episode that I will show you guys is the Without a Recipe Girl Scout cookies. This was the second episode of this season, but technically also a first episode for some of the contestants. How Without a Recipe was different this year was that we had 8 contestants instead of the usual 4, and they kind of had this bracket system where people got eliminated and then moved on. So every round was kind of an elimination round. So this episode that I had for Girl Scout cookies had Keith, Kwesi, Joyce, and Ryan. These were the 4 contestants. So because this season was a bit different from the previous seasons, we needed an explanation of how it was working. So when we started the episode, we already had this graphics made to explain how this season is gonna go. As you can see, we had the winners bracket, losers bracket, and this was the Girl Scout Cookies episode 2 with the 4 contestants here. And whoever wins there was going to move on to the next one, round 2, which is Bao. So a quick overview of the Girl Scout Cookies episode. Let's see how much footage we had to begin with. I'm gonna go through this part really quickly because you guys know my process already, but first we pull selects from all the footage we get, and let's see. For Girl Scout cookies, we had around 11 hours and 41 minutes of footage. So again, I watched through everything in double speed. It is divided into the pre-interviews of each guy, and then there's the cooking section. So as always, I color corrected them to different colors. Then we have the expert interview, which will be in my mango color. And at the very end is the judging, which is this crazy thing. And from here, we're gonna jump right into cut 5, which was the last cut for me. We went through obviously cut 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's break it down. The beginning, we start out with the cold open, which is the funniest moments and kind of the intro of the video before the actual title cards comes in. So I usually construct this at the end of my edit because by then I know which moments are the funniest and they're already edited. So I put these together in the beginning, and then we're gonna hit the intro. And then after this intro, we went on to show the graphic I told you about before. Here you can see the voiceovers that I recorded. Ted Evans is the one who does the voiceovers for Without a Recipe, but in the beginning, of course, we, the editors, write the jokes and then we record it ourselves. So here you can hear my voice, actually.
On today's episode, they're making Girl Scout cookies. Will they be adventureful with their ideas?
I did some Googling to find some puns for Girl Scout cookies. So these, we write the script actually, and then we record them with our voices, and then later we send them as an email so that Ted can actually record these in person. And then here we meet the judges, we introduce each of them. We had an actual Girl Scout judge this time, which was cool. And then as you can see from the colors, we go into each guy, like a quick intro sound bites from each of them. So this is where they really talked about their goal for the episode or introduced them if they were new. So Joyce and Ryan were the new characters in this season, so then they kind of introduced themselves, talked about their experience with cooking. All right, then we get started into cooking, and as you can see from the colors, you can see we're going between blue, pink, but also this mango color in between. And what is the mango color? That is the expert. So throughout the video, we of course have the expert showing us the exact steps they're supposed to do and them usually doing the opposite. I'm gonna get into the funny parts about this later for the Mochi episode, but for now, let me just show you how the timeline looks in slow motion, kind of. All you really need to focus on is the interchanging colors of blue and pink with the mango color in between. That is how you see the edit. And that's the majority of the video, just going back and forth between that. And then at the very end, we see the judging. And this is the big chunk of the section also. Usually judging takes up a little less than half of the episode. And a lot of people ask all the time, why are there so many layers here? It's because they all have different mics and I like to zigzag the audio to make it flow more naturally. So here you are seeing 8 mics total because there are 3 judges, 4 contestants. I know that's 7, but then there's the 8th mic, which is the boom mic. So that's why we have 8 microphones and so many layers of audio here. And at the very end, we announce who the winner is, who the losers are. here, and after that the video is done. So this is the entire episode. If you want to see the full timeline, it looks like this. For about 50 minutes for the whole episode, and we have the entire section here with sound effects coming here in between and all the music coming down here. So it's very organized. That is my go-to to just organize my projects. Now the part I want to show you guys for the Girl Scout Cookies episode that I thought was really funny was Keith's anger meter. This part. I'm sure if you guys saw the Girl Scout Cookies episode, I hope you guys laughed at this section because I thought it was really funny. So I'm gonna show you guys how I made this Keith's anger meter. So for context, Keith was making his Girl Scout cookie and he was trying to decorate them very pretty. So he used these flowers, these edible flowers, to decorate his cookies. He was under a lot of stress already because of the time limit, and he had to put these flowers together, but they were too big. So he had to cut them individually and put them on top of the cookie. It also wasn't sticking very well, so he was getting very frustrated. In real time though, he didn't get angry right away. This was a slow build up to an eventual anger. So let me just show you guys quickly how this looks in the original footage.
These are normal flowers. Here's a normal size flower. Here's a flower from outside. Very pretty. Pull them apart. That's not my vision.
Okay, then he goes on to decorate a little bit. There's some pause in between. Let's just fast forward a little bit. Then he even tries to make this like cream thing to fit on the flowers. So long, I'm going to skip through all of that. And after skipping all the way through here, he finally loses it. So if I didn't cut out anything, from when he first started discovering the flowers that they were too big until he started the final freak out moment, that whole thing took 7 minutes and 45 seconds. That is way too long. We can't live in that section for that long. So we have to cut it really short, just get the craziest moments when he was actually freaking out and put them together into this section that ended up only being 16 seconds. So the entire section was actually 7 minutes and 45 seconds. We're cutting that down to 16 seconds. To do that, we are going to pull out the craziest moments when he actually reacted, when he was screaming, when his voice was loud, when his face was pink, and really covering the rest of the moments with B-rolls like this, which are just close-ups of him decorating cookies so that it doesn't seem like we're cutting too much. So then putting these together, I thought it would be really fun to add an anger meter to really hype up how angry he was getting. Of course, I already had the soundtrack down here, some angry music that built up. We also wanted the music down here to climax, so I'm gonna just have 2 points here, make it going slowly louder. Then I built the anger meter, so let me just start it from the beginning. I'll disable it. So how I started was go on graphics here and new layer, and you're gonna do rectangle. Then it kind of shows this kind of rectangle. You're gonna go to properties, and here take out the fill. We don't want anything filling in there, but do stroke. And I'm just gonna shape it like this. And all I have to do is just copy and paste this a bunch of times. So the copied one I can move up here, copy one again, put up here, until we have enough squares up here. Then we're gonna just write Keith's anger right here. So we have a title for that. So we're gonna start out with filling the first 2 rectangles because this is the beginning of his anger. We could make this all of the same color, but it would be more fun if it's like a gradient. So starting from green to going all the way to red. So the first shape, you can just go to properties here. You can also disable and enable it to make sure we are clicking the right rectangle. And down here, now we're gonna fill. So let's make this a green color, maybe a beginning green color. Then the second one, let's do a little bit more dark, a little bit darker color than the first green one. So we're pretty much gonna keep going and filling each rectangle as the video progresses. And in between I put this cross dissolve so that it fades into each color. And then I decided to do this red alarm effect, which was really easy to do. I created these cuts just randomly, but around the same length. For every other cut of it, I added a tint. So I'll go to effects, go to tint. That will automatically make it black and white, but you just have to change the color. So here you can make it like dark red. Here you can make it light red. You could also change how intense this is. You're just gonna copy this tint effect and put it on every other cut. So here and here. This one should be normal. And the next one, I add the tint. This one should be normal, then the next one I add the tint. So after all that, I added a crossfade in between so that it kind of fades into each shot. Then we have this alarm effect that goes hand in hand with the anger meter. This was a little touch that I added to make the video flow a little better and possibly make it funnier. Alright, so that was the gist of Girl Scout cookies. Now let's quickly move on to the Mochi episode. This one I won't go through the whole thing because you kind of already saw the structure of the episodes. For Mochi, we had about 10 hours of footage, a little less than Girl Scout cookies. I'm surprised. So this is my final cut of mochi. This is how it looks like. So for the mochi episode, what I want to go over in detail is the use of the experts in between cooking. By now you guys know in Try Guys Without a Recipe, it's always the expert saying something to do something and the guys doing the exact opposite. This is kind of a pattern we use to show contrast in the videos and to make it funnier, and I'm gonna show you guys how that actually works. You can see in the timeline already, this is the cooking section. We are going back and forth from the pink color and a dark green color, and also occasionally this mango color in between. So as you can guess, this pink color is Team 1 cooking. This is Ryan and Jared. The dark green is Keith and Zach. So we are going back between the two teams, and we have this mango color, which is the mochi expert who is showing us how to make it professionally. And just from the timeline alone, you can see that the mango, the expert, is kind of spread throughout. We don't go too long without hearing from him again because we need to remember he's there, and we also need to learn the steps from him. When we pull the selects though, what we just get is this whole long sequence of the expert talking to the camera. So he is just here telling us what he's making, he is showing us how to make it, but he is not specifically mentioning like each time, oh, the guy said this, so you shouldn't do this. So what we have to do when we're pulling selects is not only to pull these moments where he is cooking to show the direction of making it, but also to find moments where he's talking about what not to do. So usually if we're right on schedule, this expert interview is shot after the guys have already finished cooking. So by now, they know what the guys messed up on. They will know that, let's say one guy used too much flour or one guy used eggs and they were not supposed to. So usually they know these things. So throughout the video, when he's cooking, he does say these things like, oh, by the way, there's no way you should use eggs, or there's no way you should add AP flour to this. I will make sure to get these moments when I'm pulling selects so that when I actually edit the video, I can make sure when they use the eggs, I can put them there. Let's say we find this moment where the expert says you're not supposed to use eggs.
There's definitely not any eggs in mochi.
Okay, so he says there's definitely not any eggs in mochi. At one point during the cooking, Ryan questions if we need eggs.
What's the point of this? An egg? Do you think? Do I just put like just egg white in it?
So he is questioning if he should use eggs, and this was the perfect moment for me to pull this moment from the chef where he said you're not supposed to use eggs and put that right after Ryan questioned it. That way we create this contrast of should I use eggs? And no, you shouldn't. And I like to sandwich this, meaning that I like to go from the try guy saying, should I do this? And the expert saying, no, don't do it. And then go back to the try guy doing it. So then he grabs eggs and he uses them. So this is the way we use a lot throughout Try Guys Without a Recipe to really emphasize how many stuff they're doing wrong. And I like to put this text on top as well to emphasize the wrong stuff he's putting in there. Another good moment I found was here when the expert says,
using AP flour mochi is a huge mistake.
Using AP flour in mochi is a huge mistake. This was also sandwiched in between Zach.
Using AP flour mochi is a huge mistake. It's not meant for mochi.
See, this is too goopy.
So then again, we sandwiched back, we cut back to Zach after he added AP flour, and it looks totally wrong here. Another thing I like to do if the expert hasn't specifically said not to do something is to show the contrast between his beautiful work and the guy's failure. So here, they're making the mochi, it's towards the end. This is the expert's beautiful dough. And then we're gonna cut right to the guys where it is a total fail. It's in a similar step that they both have this circle thing, but Jared's rice cake is just not coming off at all. So showing this contrast throughout the video between the guys and the expert really emphasizes the things they're doing wrong and also adds to the comedy. That was it. That was Behind the Scenes Without a Recipe 2025. I hope you guys learned something new this time. And as always, I really enjoyed working on these episodes. I hope you guys enjoyed watching them as well. Again, Merry Christmas and almost Happy New Year. Hope you guys have a great end of the year celebration, and we will see you guys in January with December vlog, which might come like a week late because I'm still in Germany, but we'll figure it out. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!